Challenger teams, they would learn to lose. That's for sure. When we were in Challenger scene, we were winning every tournament. We were like, oh, we're really good. And then we come to LCS and like, oh, well, we're mediocre. And then we realized that the rest of the team are improving in very fast pace. So then we realized that we also need to improve all the time, otherwise we're gonna be left behind. Since in LCS you play every week, you don't have any free days, so you practice all the time. Challenger teams can take it easy between tournaments, they can take a break, a week break maybe, but LCS teams don't have time for that. The teamwork improves really hard, like the warding, the basics, the rotations, all that stuff becomes really basic in LCS, but the Challenger teams have to find it out from the beginning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show here. Now, in our last match between the Copenhagen Wolves and H2K Gaming, the Wolves did take that first win, but it's best of 5. We're on to game 2, and of course both these teams do want that spot in the LCS.
Yeah, and you just heard Unlimited there talk about adaptations. Well, Copenhagen Wolves came out with one today with their entire style. Like they were talking about how the LCS teams kept getting better, and Copenhagen Wolves really didn't. They kind of took a spike today. Yeah,
they finally jumped up in here, and it's looking pretty good for the Copenhagen Wolves. And we heard the analyst desk. There's a K on the end of that word, talk about the fact that we kind of needed to see some new things from H2K as well. Maybe kind of cater their picks around the fact that maybe their vision control isn't too hot right now compared to the Wolves. We'll have to see what sticks through here as we get ourselves into game 2.
Yeah, especially when you're going to run a pick composition like H2K opted to do. And there's the Ziggs ban immediately out. They target all 3 bans at Soren. They think he's the weak link, and they want Forbidden to have the best possible matchup for him because he wasn't able to roam last time.
Yeah.
They want to set him up to roam with Trashy to get the other lanes in their favor. They have to shut down Woolite too because he went absolutely crazy last game. We talked about how that's the matchup that's going to win Copenhagen Wolves the game most likely, is that one with Woolite.
Yeah, well,
he has carry potential of the wazoo.
He does, and he did really well in the last game, of course. 5-0 and 2, I believe he went in that one. Alistair does get banned away, so both teams respecting blue side Alistair here. Otherwise, pretty similar bans from H2K. They didn't have to ban Alistair themselves. They added the Ziggs here, otherwise not wanting to first pick Orianna necessarily. So Kha'Zix was first grabbed for Airwalk, and it did pretty well for him, but ultimately all that team had to do was wait for a while. Now H2K, they could go for the early Ahri again, the early Ryze again, or they could think for something entirely different.
So I believe the Yasuo was left open this game.
It is.
The Vivin plays a very deadly Yasuo. So they're going to have to take their time in consideration here. If it's a Maokai first pick, and then they want to turn that into a Yasuo comp later on, or what they do here. Because last time they picked their solo lane so quickly on H2K's side, if they want to pick a top laner first and just set up with the Wamne, there's a lot of options here depending on the style that they're going to make for their composition. Or they could pick a centerpiece very early on.
Well, they took plenty of time, and it is going to be the Kha'Zix here for Trashy. So both teams caring a lot about the Kha'Zix pick for the junglers here. Youngbuck right away says, you know what? Maokai Yasuo. Grabbing those right off the bat, actually.
So I said if they first pick a Maokai, maybe they'll pick the Yasuo later on. Copenhagen Wolves do exactly that for themselves, but in the 1-2 slots for them. Such a quick pickup there. Youngbuck, he hasn't played any Maokai in solo queue on his main. He didn't play Maokai when he was in the LCS. He's been hiding that pick for a bit, and people were very skeptical whether or not he played it. He busted out a couple times in scrims, and Soren XD at the same time. He only whipped out a Yasuo one time. It's the only time we saw him, and of course it was a loss for him, but he's not completely tested on that champion, especially against somebody like Forbidden. We're going to have to see what Forbidden can do, and I do think that the pickup of Kog'Maw here is a much better pick for Hjarnan.
Yeah, so actually a very identical pick in ban phase to last time around. First pick jungler, other team grabs both solos, and then blue team goes back for their entire duo lane here. But Nami is going to be the bot lane carry potential, and a great duo overall. Teemo getting a deserved cheer from the audience. Woolite.
Soren there, shaking his head at Woolite. He's like, why?
Do the right thing. You know Woolite backwards is actually Teemo?
Stop! Italu.
Well, you turn the W upside down to an M.
You're stretching it.
T-E upside down W. O. It's close.
If you give me an infinite amount of lines and curves, I can make any word. Yes, because that's all. And I guess if you want to be like, oh, it's a tiny line that makes a dot. Boom.
A tiny line makes a dot. You know what?
That's how I write.
Hashtag Zyrene quotes.
Anyway.
So, Zilean and Corki are picked up here for Copenhagen Wolves. That is going to be support Zilean here for Unlimited. They think that's going to be a fine matchup there. Battling Zilean and Corki against these two. Corki definitely has some great early game power. And now H2K need their solo lanes.
So the fact that they didn't pick up the Tristana here for Woolite means they aren't going to go for that hyper carry late game here and try to match Hjarnan on that. Instead, they're going to try to counter it and go for the early game aggression.
Oh. Yes!
Yep. All right. So this is 4.14 Gnar. This is the first Gnar we're going to be seeing in competitive play, at least that we've been in charge of.
Yeah.
He's pre-buffed, and I talked with Odwamna before this because I saw him spamming it solo queue, and I said, Odwamna, you going to bust out the Gnar today? And he started giggling at me. I was like, he's pre-buffed, man. He's 414. And he goes, who cares? And then Trashy goes, we're not spoilers. We're not going to tell you.
Well, Gnar comes through, and I've heard a lot of people talk about whether Gnar was good or not, and that his passive is understandably uncontrollable. It's inconsistent.
He's a lane bully.
Sure. I mean, I posited that, like, if it's good enough, the inconsistency doesn't matter. Yes, it's a hamper, but if it's good enough, you do it anyway. Gnar comes through for H2K. I think this is the first event that he was enabled as well.
414.
Because I don't think he was allowed for NA LCS playoffs at PAX. I believe that was still too soon.
Regardless,
I could just be wrong, but that's my thought here.
Regardless, they are going to pick up the jungle Gragas here for Airwalks so that they have more knockups for Soren XD.
Oh, that's cool. I like this here. So Copenhagen Wolves definitely know this comp. When they used to play back with Coward in the mid lane, he was like Yasuo only practically. He played that freaking every single game. The Wolves very happy to play all around their mid laner, and if he goes in too hard, still gets revived by Unlimited. This is going to be all kinds of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here.
Yeah, and the fact they're going to have the Zilean to back up if Soren XD does overextend or if Young Buck engages too hard. So the thing here for Copenhagen Wolves, they're looking at a teamfight composition. Again, a Yasuo-oriented comp. And then on the side of H2K, once again, a little bit more pick-oriented, but they do have a little more teamfight in them.
Yeah, but at least they have the better, like, some better lanes going on here, right? If you lane swap against the Cognomi, Cog gets to free farm, and that is great for H2K. Even in the 2-on-2, I think Cognomi is a good matchup. I think they survive Corki Zilean, personally. We'll see if it actually plays out that way. And you've got this Gnar top lane, this lane bully Gnar that he's like, yeah, I'm going to fight a Maokai, and it's going to be free. So I want to see how this plays out. I like seeing series go to all 5 games, and H2K, I think, have made some good choices here in Game 2.
Yeah, and I actually did a little stalking of Odwamne. His Gnar build typically has a Brutalizer into it, into a black Cleaver, and he builds tanky with Spirit Visage and a bunch of other tank items.
All right, so and that seems to be actually the
no
build.
Trinity Force.
That's okay. It's understandable.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
I've renounced that item anyway. So as we get ourselves into the game right here, Game 2, H2K wanting to fire back. Copenhagen Wolves 2 wins away from a spot back in the LCS. But all I care about is Gnar.
Yeah, well, I think that's what everybody's here for right now. There's just a little bit of Gnar action for Odwamne, and it looks like they're all grouping up. And it's going to be a gathered invade here, whereas Copenhagen Wolves are going for this formation where they just guard their jungle. But if H2K hit fast and they make it to this bush, they could catch Young Buck off guard. But he's going to walk forward, and he sees him.
Sees him. Boomerang misses.
Got it.
The Australians would be displeased. Get him, Gnar! Gets yelled from the audience.
Oh,
man. Nice
Odwamne's
try.
actually very practiced on this champion.
Clearly.
I know, yeah.
I'm messing. No, he's very good. I'm messing. Young Buck playing far away. All right, so H2K go for the top lane invade. They get the deep ward to look for lane assignments top lane. And it is, by the way, Wolves looking towards a lane swap here.
And that is not completely in the bush. They're going to see, oh, Caterpillar comes out with some butterfly wings. He's halfway through.
All right, well, at least they knew that happened. But H2K gets away, and they don't actually know if those guys are in the brush anymore. But now they do. That ward sees him.
Lane swap top.
Interesting.
2-2.
So this is a good read. Copenhagen Wolves have done a very good job of spotting the lane. Oh, this is good. They recalled. They showed on the ward and then recalled. The Wolves
Baited.
happy to play bot lane.
So they walk up. They know there was a ward placed there because Young Buck walked back as it was placed when Odwamne put it there. And then they bait it. Woolite Unlimited walk halfway to the lane. Book it.
And it builds the same situation again, where you're going to have the 2-on-2. Like, AOD's going to be there with Hjarnan. and it actually allows the Zilean here to roam around and do whatever he wants, knowing that this Corki is safe. It also lane stops against the Gnar, who has very short range early game. And I think he's going to have a very hard time facing a Corki 1v1.
And here's the thing too, is that Gnar is going to show up to that lane. Trash is going to be taking more damage from this camp than normal, and they're not going to be splitting experience. So Young Buck is going to be a little bit ahead because he's double jungling, and look at that invade.
15 gold for Unlimited. Turret shot for his troubles, but Trashy did get his red buff, but could not finish the camp. The fast jungle clear of Airwalks and Young Buck allows them to kind of stop him in his tracks. Trashy will still get level.
Gonna go straight for this dragon.
Oh, this
2
is good.
minutes, 30-second dragon.
This is good. I like this a lot. Unlimited better do a good job though. He's got to do this right though. Young Buck's only level 1.
Nobody's contesting this though. Back and forth, gyrating that dragon.
Perfect by Unlimited.
Not quite.
3 attacks total.
Something's
4.
a little fishy.
And there it is. Nicely done. Copenhagen Wolves 3-minute dragon. And they're already at 800 gold. Now Trashy does see this. He does go for the red buff steal topside. That could be a 3-buff start for H2K.
And most likely is here, but Odwamna finds Airwalks.
Some decent damage comes back onto him. He's got to be careful. If Youngbuck catches him, he could die.
Copenhagen Wolves sticking to their objective control playstyle now, which is something that we didn't say, or at least hear a lot of about them before. Really turning over a new leaf here. I'm actually quite impressed with what the Wolves have brought here today.
And so far, very impressive by Copenhagen Wolves. 800 gold lead. Trashy will get the 3-buff start that he always wanted. But Odwamna set incredibly far back, whereas Youngbuck gets to share some jungle XP. There we go. Odwamna finally getting some XP for himself. Will share off the blue buff. Close to level 2 there on Gnar, but still not the best start for the man. Woolite is going to free farm. Does get the soul lane down there as Corki, which means that Hirana gets to farm. That is one good thing that we have to talk about for H2K.
They swapped the hyper carries, but Airwalks looking for his first gank in the game.
There was the flash by Fabivin. Good charm though, did some damage back to Soren, but still a flash down for the mid laner of H2K.
Flashing early, making sure that Airwalks can't get the body slam flash onto him. And now it's support and top laner against Woolite in the bot lane.
Well, that should be a decent 2-on-1.
And they swapped it up top too, so Unlimited, he's actually going to back here.
I feel like Maokai is reasonably safe against Kog'Maw in lane because the W's only up so often that he can kind of free farm, and instead they can kind of make sure that Woolite, who's so important to the team, gets to have a fairly safe lane with the Zilean support.
And Woolite, rookie of the split for the European LCS. Carrying his team, but look at this Trashy.
Wow, gets the flash down. He can still keep going, of course. There's a slow. There comes Airwalks, though. Flashes away. Barrel gets used. Shardon is slowed, but there's a W. Airwalks not in the best of spots, but he gets away.
A flash backwards from Trashy to avoid the body slam. They get the flash out of Maokai, and that's going to give Hjarnan more pressure in that lane. But Trashy getting his 3 buff start for himself, more individualistic play, trying to set up his lanes, something he wasn't able to do last time.
Ooh, nice damage on the Woolite, though. Forcing the Valkyrie away. 100, 200 health left on him. And here comes Big Gnar. Roar!
Everybody got so disappointed when it happened. But look at this. Oh!
Ooh, Boulder hits Woolite. Actually, didn't. No.
Nope.
In 415, that would have hit him. Odom doesn't care.
At the same time, this Gnar pick. See what it does for them in the mid game. Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at that. The body slam flash into the ulti. Fabivin has no way of getting out for that one. Good kill picked up by Soren XD. And Copenhagen Wolves draw first blood in game 2.
Exactly what they wanted. The level 6 came out for Soren XD before it came out for Fabivin, so he wasn't able to use his Spirit Rush to get out of that fight. And Airwalks plays that perfectly. The pickup of him back onto the team looked like exactly what the Wolves wanted.
The early gank from the very beginning as well that burned the flash from Fabivin 2.5 minutes ago. That was all the setup he needed. Very, very nicely done by the Wolves.
I'm loving the jungle pressure here that the Wolves have been applying. They are a more objective focus. Their early game jungle routes are better. Just flat out, their meta game is better.
Absolutely
the addition
is.
of Airwalks.
And you can see this team's looking pretty darn strong here. 1,200 gold lead by 6.5 minutes. They're not playing this really super, super late game hyperscaling comp. That doesn't even matter. They're playing aggressively. They're playing the comp right.
I guess it's more their macro game. Just think about what I was saying.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That is more like outside of the game.
Yeah. No, but their macro game is great. They're playing very, very smart. Also a point that I think we understate too much when we see Zilean, or don't.
Experience?
Yeah, exactly. The experience passive. You talk about the level 6 advantage.
That's exactly how he got it before Forbidden as well. It's going to let you hit it a couple creeps earlier.
Roughly 8% less minions required.
Boom.
Not exactly, actually. It's not how math works.
You said roughly, so.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
We got you.
We're good. We're good. Some damage back down. Woolite does take some pain. Sheen versus Phage. Interesting choice there. Woolite actually would have a hard time applying Sheen procs in a matchup like this, where he's getting outranged now by the Kog'Maw, but that's all right. Here and then with the Phage has plenty of extra health to help not get dived. By the way, Ancient Golem for the Gragas here. Airwalk's going to go tank Gragas.
They're looking for some tanky frontliners who can just set up the fight, get in there, and then set Soren XD up.
Oh no.
It's going to be oriented up.
Oh! Man, the explosive cast, the body slam for Bivin. Oh, he predicts the barrel as well. Nicely done. That's ulti out of Bivin, and a lot of health gone.
The get drunked combo.
I like it.
Airwalk's going through a little walk through the forest, and he's going to go towards top now. And here's the thing, too. Odoamne, first item. Giant spell.
All right.
I mean, he does turn into a giant thing, so help him keep his pants up.
I don't know if he has pants in Mega Gnar form. That's okay, though. Odoamne's going to back out.
This, though.
No, looks like he's fairly safe. He's playing towards the back. Airwalk does not have flash or ulti up, so not too much to be done. Trashy, level 6 here is going to go for the blue buff 4 for Bivin. That's going to stay safe. But once again, we're seeing H2K really not able to make a lot of early game plays. The Ahri gets picked up. We think this is good row with this pick champion, but he's been getting picked on very heavily by Airwalks and Soren.
Is he just constantly taking drinks? No, it's Gragas. Anyway, he's looking to go back up top again. There's a ward. That ward is still up there. He's going to be able to get a gank on this Gnar.
Ooh.
Nope. Pops away. So the map pressure between these two teams, Copenhagen Wolves still has that advantage. They've been getting pink wards that have been staying alive longer. Their vision control is just in their favor. They've gotten a kill. They've gotten the first dragon. Second dragon is up, and they've just now backed. They've just now backed in that bot lane to get themselves some power spikes.
There you go, knock up. Oh my god, he just goes for it there for Bivin. Half health off of one combo. Man, life has got to be painful for H2K's mid laner.
This is the matchup that we were talking about and that we thought was going to be in Vivin's favor.
Yeah.
Based on history and results that we have seen from Soren XD, only being successful on 2 champions, and only being mildly successful on one of them. And for Bivin just having such a wide array of champions and pressure, and the fact that they keep throwing bans at Soren XD2 to limit his champion pool, but he stepped up today, and he's above Bivin in levels. He is constantly pressuring him. He's above him in CS. He's at 101 at 10 minutes, 38 seconds.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job for himself, and he's setting his team up. And I think Soren XD, maybe he's just the rest of Copenhagen Wolves right now turning over a new leaf, especially against the team H2K, which was very feared and favored today.
Yeah.
Especially coming in just fans.
Oh, for sure.
Like 52% against an LCS team. And then halfway through, it's like 64%.
Yeah, honestly, H2K I thought were coming in as favorites, but this is so far so good from Copenhagen Wolves. And you got to wonder what kind of adaptations these teams can continue to make, because we've seen now very different strats come out from Wolves. Late game comp, team fight comp in game 1. Played it slow, did fine. This time around, Airwalk's playing very aggressively alongside Soren to say, yeah, let's go ahead and make this Yasuo snowball. That's done well. There's a headway there looking for a play to make the flash. Gets unlimited to safety. Nothing gained but a ward kill for H2K.
They're trying to keep this pink ward alive so that they can allow trashy avenues in, but nope. Copenhagen Wolves stick to it, and they end up getting the ward in the end.
Oh, they smelled blood. They finally took it down. So far, so good. So, Woolite jumps in there, actually wants damage onto Hjarn, then man, good damage is possible. Lands one rocket, forces the heal on Woolite. He's gonna get revived. Life is okay. And now in the top lane, though, Odoamne's got nowhere to go. Picked up there by Young Buck. Airwalks making everything happen.
And Trashy looking into that bot lane.
But first the mid lane.
Oh
though.
my
Thorin
god.
Dealing some major damage. Vivin just cannot stay in this lane. He's down 30 CS now.
The camera keeps jumping all over the place. There's so much aggression all across this map, mostly from Copenhagen Wolves.
They're making plays. And again, they picked an earlier game comp, and look what happens. They play aggressively early on. These guys have definitely gotten much better over the last month.
All those scrims are definitely paying off for them. Soren XD, he's poked Vivin out of the lane again, and now he's going to get free damage on this turret. And even there, you can see on the base camp, Vivin,
Yeah.
very contemplative.
No,
Situation.
H2K looks kind of shaken right now. You can kind of see down the line for each of the players, they're just shaking their heads. They're a little downtrodden. Like, Wolves are a much better opponent than these guys expected. Dragon number 2 now. Should be clean.
If they get this dragon, which it looks like they will, completely uncontested, it's going to be still 100% objective control, neutral objective control, the Copenhagen Wolves in these 2 games so far. Complete dominance over something that was very difficult for them to wrestle against LCS teams.
Yeah.
Lowest dragons of any LCS team in the EU LCS. That's not something to be proud of, and it looks like they weren't proud of it, so they went and fixed it.
And so far, so good. 3,000 gold lead, 13 minutes in. Young Buck and Odawamna trading some wards down. Rocks do not seem to phase trees very much.
Just grows right on top of it.
Right?
It's all good.
Not even a problem.
Because nature.
Because nature.
Anyway, speaking of nature, Odawamna going against people's natures and building Gnar. He's going to go for the Brutalizer into Black Cleaver very quickly. I saw your face.
Yeah, I was like,
You're
where's that one
where's
going?
it going with it?
Oh,
Where's it going with
back
it?
to his turret. Like, this lane bully is working despite getting ganked, despite the honestly bad start at level 1. Odawamna is winning in this lane here by about 10 CS, pulls again jungle attention, and yet we haven't seen Trashy almost all game.
Odawamna loves to apply this pressure with the champion, and AOD aggressive.
Gotta be a bit careful. Of course, Copenhagen Wolves do have the chrono shift back up their Brazilian, so they can play aggressively. They can take a mistake, and it's not going to mean too much. Woolite going to stand his ground, lose a lot of health for this one. So far, they're going to be okay.
Like I said, chrono shift still available. And the biggest disparity here is that mid lane. Vivin versus Soren XD. It's really funny because when we came into this, it was Vivin. He's so young, he's so talented. His CS numbers are great. His champion pool is very deep. Soren XD has been very uneventful in his LCS career.
Oh, look at that with a knockback into the turret. There's the root as well. What a good play by Copenhagen Wolves. Airwalks gets the kill.
Bringing Airwalks back on the team, making plays like that.
Yup.
How can you question that decision?
Here's Airwalking all over them. Unlimited now in a bit of a trade with AOD. There's the knockup from the bubble, getting some good damage down. Corki also dropped low. It's actually good by H2K. Both targets are very low. Only one can get revived. H2K could clean up this bottom lane before too long. That could be the place of power for this team. It's up 10 CS. It's a Kogbot down there as well. If the other lanes can stop the bleeding, Charlotte could carry this game.
He's going to have to go up against Soren XD, though.
Yeah.
Above the 10 per CS, 10 per minute mark. Here we go.
Massive. It's a 178.
2 levels up over the Vivin.
It's not only the fact that his CS is so high, he also denied so much CS as well. Oftentimes you see that kind of mark and you're like, oh yeah, he wave clears and goes, does Wraiths, and you know, whatever, it's a high CS Karthus. No, he's like beating the crap out of Vivin while doing that. That's honestly incredible.
Also, look at all the wards from Copenhagen Wolves. A zigzag across the jungle from H2K. Look at this, the aggression is coming in here.
There's the flash. Woolite forced to revive. They will knock him down, but AOD very low. That Time Bomb would kill him, except for the Summoner heal. Exhaust is on unlimited, low on health. They do pick that one up. H2K finally on the scoreboard.
Trashy finally making a play for his team, but they are still 4,000 gold down at 16 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
They're going to have to make more plays like that without giving up much in return if they want to get back to this game. Whereas Copenhagen Wolves, they kind of just have to allow Soren XD to keep doing what he's doing. Get him his Blade of the Rune King, which he's on his way to. Get him his IE, and then his power spikes are huge. He is ready to just go take over this game. He is 4 levels up over the next solo laner there in the top lane. He's 2 levels up over Forbidden, but he's 4 over Odoamne. This is just such a big Yasuo at this point in the game.
And honestly,
It's early
like,
not to.
oh yeah, I think it kind of only gets worse unless you can have some kind of playmaking by H2K to get back in on this one. Soren, let
Doesn't
that
care
one go.
about that minion.
He's taunting it.
Watched it down.
He could have had even 200 CS in 17 minutes. That'd be a very high mark, by the way. He's slowing his record down by like 30 seconds. Doesn't care about records, except for, you know, 3-0ing in the series or something like that. That would be a record.
Especially for Copenhagen Wolves, because every time they've been in every promotion tournament.
Yeah.
And they've 3-1 and won every time. Despite the roster, it's always been 3-1.
Yep.
So if they 3-0, it's a record for that organization.
Are they going to try one more time? There, Soren has the knockup, though. Doesn't quite land it. And out goes H2K. Good bubble by AOD to keep Hjarnan alive. Triforce is done by both AD carries. Hjarnan waits in the wings. Soren pushes down. Oh, 3 men strong. There's the TP in from Youngbuck as well as Odoamne. Hops on in. Has to flash away. Odoamne did not want to be part of that one.
That's one of the things about Nars. His TP usage is very difficult. Oh!
Ooh, not
no
in
last
range
breath.
for Soren.
No range on that last breath. Could have been a double.
That would have been brutal. But thankfully for H2K, he was a little bit far away. Nice attempt by Airwalks, but dragging up in 30 seconds. Definitely map control right now for Copenhagen Wolves.
And the TP usage of Gnar is actually very difficult to pull off. It's one of the reasons people didn't regard him as a great top laner. It's because top laners are very reliant on their TP usage. For Gnar, you have to TP, but make sure you have enough Fury or Rage to start the fight off and then become Mega Gnar. Because that's your big utility in the team fight, is all these stuns that he has available. When you're Mini Gnar, you just jump around and be a nuisance.
Well, Odoamne has been a nuisance to Youngbuck in the top lane, but so far he's not been able to play anywhere else. Airwalks has just been awesome overall. 1-0 and 2 on tank Gragas. Merc Tread's also done. Dragon attempted, but looks like H2K are available, and Copenhagen Wolves are going to respect that. Going to try again, though. Poke coming out from Kog'Maw. This isn't going to be that easy for the Wolves. Even though it's still in the mid lane, so this is getting pushed down rather quickly. Time bomb on as well. This will be the attempted grab, and yes, good smite by Airwalks. Another dragon for the Wolves.
Yeah, once again, still 100% for them. 3 for 3 this game alone. Higher than their average before.
Still.
Doubling their average. It's just ridiculous to think that this team was the 8th place LCS team just a couple weeks ago. Coming in here today, Soren XD bringing out champions that he's comfortable on and performing against Forbidden, a guy who's been number 7 in Challenger. He's been in that top 10 for so long as an individual performer. Bringing Airwalks on and synergizing him with Soren. He's been absolutely amazing to watch this series.
It's been really good for Copenhagen Wolves. Honestly, is all I can say. These guys are looking so much better than before. Roster is shaping up. Odoamne back into Mega Gnar, but he is 3 levels down. Again, it's just kind of down the line. It's just, this is so hard to deal with because the Wolves are just winning everywhere. They're keeping the pressure on. They're taking dragons basically on respawn.
It's the ward control here from H2K. It's the positioning before the fight starts. They're very individual. They seem more individualistic than ever. They seem to care just solely about themselves and trying to just win the lanes. That seems to be the goal in mind for H2K, and it's just not working out for them.
What they can wait for, though, is the late game. If Hjarnan can play around the Gragas explosive cast, he can maybe carry this game on Kog'Maw. There's a lot of damage available on a champion like this one. Maybe that can be their way back in. Maybe they can get some picks if they get some wards down here. Trashy will scale up, Vivian will scale up. You never know.
Gonna have to deal with Youngbuck at the same time, though. He's getting on his way to Frozen Heart. Airwalks come in. There it is.
Flash body slam, the explosive cask as well. A lot of damage. Tidal Wave is blocked by a wind wall. Another knockup for Soren, and that is just the easy kill onto Hjarnan. Perfect play by Wolves.
2-on-3 underneath the turret, and they get a kill for themselves from the Copenhagen Wolves. On Hjarnan, the one guy that we were saying could possibly run away with the game. They're trying to stop exactly that from happening.
That was absolutely perfect. Great engage there by Airwalks. The only summoner spell used was that one flash. H2K get nothing back. Bottom lane outer turret goes down as well. Copenhagen Wolves now up 6,000 gold in 22 minutes.
This was just beautiful here. The body slam flash to set it up, and the tidal wave snuffed by the wind wall. Absolutely beautiful there by Soren XD and Airwalks. The synergy we were talking about, questioning whether or not it was enough time. Just a month?
Yep.
No more questions.
Working out pretty darn well for the Wolves there. So, Young Buck is, you know, he's not had to do much this game, I should say. Right? He's been holding the line in the top lane, doing reasonably for facing a lane bully, and just showing up for team fights when it needs to. His gank synergy's been good with airwalks. Still 100% kill participation on that jungler. Gotta say, he's doing amazing here. Unlimited, though, getting caught out. Trashy wants to make the play, but there's the revive. In comes Odwamna, about to be Mega Gnar. Can he make this happen? Knocks him into the wall. Two-man stun. Follows up again, but we've already lost Kha'Zix. Odwamna trying to dodge away. His leap is not available, and there's so much damage coming out from Copenhagen Wolves. They will take him down. CW grabs another 2 for 0.
They're going to go straight after this top turret as well. The group and the team fight phase is now coming to fruition for Copenhagen Wolves. They didn't even have Sora in that fight. He's in the bot lane, split pushing against Forbidden. He's having a wonderful time this game at 269 CS at 23 minutes. Despite that team fight he wasn't even a part of, he's having a huge impact on this game, and the rest of his team is pulling their weight too.
And top lane tier 2 now under fire. Here should be a pretty quick grab for the Wolves there. Minions will die down, but another wave comes in. H2K has respawned though, and this means that Wolves will back out, respecting the respawns.
H2K 23:30 on the clock, and they are almost 10k down. They're about 8,000 gold behind. This is huge for the #1 challenger team.
Yeah.
The Copenhagen Wolves, the roster swaps, keep talking about it, but Airwalks back in, doing an amazing job. He not only synergized with Soren, he's pretty much synergized with the rest of the team, and that early game we've seen coming out from them.
Oh, Dwamna's going to try again, gets knocked up though. Doesn't get to go anywhere there as Big Gnar, and out goes Soren XD. Yeah, you're right. Like, this roster's come together so well. They're playing really freaking smart. And every game, what I actually like the most though is the fact that Wolves have played 2 very different games back to back, both played properly with a very different composition.
And the composition that they're playing against is a little more pick-oriented in the first game. This game, it has more scaling to it, but the fact that they are visiting every lane and trying to shut down every lane, as well as get the dragon every time it's up, just being so objective-oriented, it's incredible to think about. Because, you know, hypothetical situation, what if Copenhagen Wolves really didn't get better at getting dragons? It's just that H2K doesn't guard them enough. To think that Copenhagen Wolves only got 46 dragons during the regular season is freaking crazy. But I think they did get better. I think their vision control around the dragon with the pink wards and the setting up beforehand and the team composition, just having that threat stops H2K at least from contesting it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there's somewhat a mix of both. I mean, teams like Alliance, Fnatic, and SK are definitely going to be generally better than teams like SK Gaming Prime and H2K. But yes, Copenhagen Wolves are up on this. They've kept wards down the entire game, and they're playing incredibly well. All down the line. There's a knockback. They find Odwamna. That is going to be Gnar trying to run away, but not in time. Wulite gets the kill. 7-1 now as bot lane tier 2 falls rather quickly. And this is Copenhagen Wolves still in complete control of this game.
Yeah. There's nothing really else to say. They're in complete control of this game. Airwalks still just a little bit shy of 100% kill participation now, but that set them up in time for this dragon. Just perfect timing here of aggression in their windows. The fact that Airwalks just has the presence of mind. Go mid, blow a flash, come back, kill at level 6 before the other mid laner hits 6. His game sense is just crazy.
Yeah. Honestly, this is a great looking Copenhagen Wolves team. Airwalks knows his windows better than Microsoft. And these guys. And a 10,000 goal lead for Copenhagen. I like the applause for that one. You're a way better crowd than PAX. They booed me. But this is good. Copenhagen Wolves 10,000 up at 26 minutes. What an incredibly gigantic lead for them. I don't know what else to say, because they're just doing the same things over and over again.
I know.
Winning farther and farther.
Well, a lot of this is that they aren't getting the vision control, or at least H2K isn't getting the vision control that they need. They're trying to deny it, but they aren't really packing it on. Copenhagen was doing a really good job of countering that. And even just an item build, too. Double Frozen Heart for Copenhagen Wolves. It's crazy. They're like, Hjarnan's their way back into this game. Odwamna, he can do some damage too. Trashy might be able to get some resets. Let's just shut all that down. Shut it down.
Yep.
It's like Madagascar. Shut it down. Don't let anything in. Close all ports.
Close all the ports, and right now, H2K.
Pandemic.
Yep, no, I got you. I knew it.
I was like, just in case everybody else didn't know.
No. Yeah, give me that time. Should have upgraded stealth. All right, so H2K. I don't know if their way in necessarily is. They are still farming up well. Like, Forbidden has a bunch of AP. He's got some true damage on him. Kog'Maw's unfortunately getting outscaled now by the Corki because of the gold lead.
The CS, the Dragons.
Yeah, like, I mean, everyone kind of down the line is behind their counterpart. And it's hard to say that H2K has a way back in because of this. This Baron is being attempted very smartly. Complete vision control there for the Wolves. If they play this right, it's a clean Baron for them.
Yep, it's going to be the tanky top laner. And the fact that Soren, he went for the Blade of the Ruin King second, and then he got his IE. So he has the 100% crit build, so every time he's smacking, he's doing about 250, but then he also has
and there it is.
The Blade of the Ruin King on top of it. It's going to be Baron for Copenhagen Wolves. 100% objective control of the neutral objectives. 2 games back-to-back so far.
Yeah.
This is crazy to think about. Nobody would have predicted this type of Copenhagen Wolves to show up today.
No, absolutely not. I mean, maybe they did. Youngbuck thought they were going to be awesome today. And it said as long as they turn their scrim results into their results right here, once they play the way they were in the months leading up, they thought they'd be in good shape. So far, they have. They've not let the pressure of the game get to them at all. It seems like their exposure to these kinds of matches have helped them because they've been able to remain calm and play a very smart set of games so far. This is good by the Wolves, 100%.
Rotation towards mid there, just systematically picking H2K apart. Look at that. Trekking all across the jungle, picking up every little scrap they can on the way, getting their wards down. They could actually play this like a pick comp too, because if Airwalk's coming around, he sets up Soren.
They've got a bit of a flank there. Oh, Dwamna's in a really bad spot. There's the knockup, there's the last breath, there's the kill picked up. That's another one for 0. 8-1, and up the mid they go.
Zilean makes that the fastest fat man you've ever seen. He closes that distance and sets up Soren, and they get themselves an inhibitor turret and an inhibitor at 29 minutes and 30 seconds. Copenhagen Wolves are just going absolutely berserk this series. They might even face tank this right after they get a minion wave there. Boom.
Yeah. That's not face tanking though.
Minion does it for you.
Yep.
Uses his body.
All their wonderful, beloved faces tanking for you. Minion's the unsung hero of League of Legends. And out they walk. Man. So let's talk about the adaptations that need to be made here, because the Ahri is clearly not working.
No, it's not working at all. I thought they were going to first pick a Yasuo or a Maokai to take that away. They put a lot on that Kha'Zix. And here's the thing too, is that Trashy plays such a good J4. Oh my god, gone!
Down goes the Viven. Hjarnan in a bad spot as well. Soren goes in for that one, can't quite reach it. Knockup won't land. AOD gets one back. Maybe H2K makes a stand here. They are trying. They've got turrets. They've got damage. Dwamna gets a stun down. Trashy comes in for Youngbuck, who gets knocked back, but the Kog'Maw damage is coming through. Youngbuck very low on health. Couple hits from Dead. Mikhails comes through, though, and he just will not go down. Finally, Hjarnan gets one. Like stun flashes away. Trashy can get the W. Doesn't quite land it. 2 for 1. H2K does hold on a bit.
Their base, though, they have super minions just pouring into the middle of the base. They have to defend this with at least 1 or 2 members to stop that push, or else they're going to lose some inhibitor turrets, or Nexus turrets. Yeah,
I mean, they're just hitting them, and H2K are like still chasing kills down. They finally turn away now, but they've already lost 1 turret for it. It might even be 2. They're just not keeping up with how the game is being played.
Very aggressive play there from Copenhagen Wolves, but it does actually reward them with another objective.
Yep. I mean, heck, you know, Copenhagen Wolves are just creating so darn much pressure. Top lane inhibitor turret did go down, so a second inhib is open for them. The Dragon's up at 30, plenty of time for the respawns there. Wolves, despite losing an extra kill in that fight, have not lost control at all.
They go straight after Forbidden. Yep. That's all she wrote.
Yep.
Completely obliterated. Soren XD goes a little too hard, but then Hjarnan stands on the tower, getting healed, and just pumping out damage as Kog'Maw. Going after Youngbuck here. Just the amount of dive that Copenhagen Wolves went for there was a little too much, but they ended up being rewarded with the turret thanks to the super minions and the fact they set themselves up for it before. So they end up pretty much with a net positive, and then boom, another dragon. It's just incredible to think about that over 2 games, they've been able to get every single neutral objective for themselves between the Dragon and Baron. H2K, even like, there hasn't even been like a lost team fight that H2K beats Copenhagen Wolves and like, boom, we got a Dragon. Or they get a pick before the Dragon spawns and they're like, oh, we got it. Or you guys can't get it. They have not done that this series. Which is incredible to think about, because even when teams are dominating another, one person will end up dying for a random reason, like 30 seconds before Dragon's up. It just happens.
Sure.
Copenhagen Wolves are not letting that happen because they are playing together as a team. They're playing to their strengths and their comp, and that allows them to kind of have multi-purpose objectives. They're kind of like, let's group up so they don't pick us, but we're all grouped up. Let's go get dragons. So if they were playing something like a split push, it's kind of like you have to split and then group up for them, but somebody can get picked off. So they leave less openings and margin for error when collecting these objectives.
And so far, so good. Wolves have not let anything really happen to them. The over-aggressive plays have been inside the base without much left to take anyway. Top lane inhibitor now going to be falling shortly. Mid lane should be respawning pretty soon. And there we go. Inhibitor falls over 33 minutes in. Inhib should be up in about 10 seconds or so. But the wave is already coming into the base. There it is. 5 seconds. That was close. And here we go. Life is good again if you're Copenhagen Wolves. H2K might want in. Odwamna's going to go Mega Gnar. And here comes the fight. Jumps into the backline. Gets a massive knockup. Can they make it happen though? Odwamna forced out already, and in comes Soren. He finds one. Trashy forced away. Hjarnan does survive, and Trashy gets the kill. But out goes Flippiv and takes a bunch of damage. Charms up Airwalks, who takes him down. But the turret does not fire back in time. It's a friendly time bomb. He's going to stay safe. 2 for 1 so far. Into the base they go.
That looked like the best possible option or engage there for H2K. And look at this. Does Trashy get some resets?
He's going to try. They get the kill. Now there is the reset for Trashy. Can they find much more? Airwalks puts down a barrel. Slow's not quite going to land. It's 2 for 2 overall. H2K actually hold on with this comp.
Basically off the back of Odwamna, I was about to say the Gnar really hasn't done anything all game long. 0, 6, and 3, but that's after that fight. He was sitting at about 0 and 5. 0, 5, and 2 is what he had going for him. Jumps in, gets a really good Gnar, and then sets his team up across the tidal wave. Has to flash out, but overall has not had a huge impact on the game until that moment.
He is not at all, but finally the tank build trying to initiate. Let's watch that again. Odwamna hops on in.
I don't know how many people he actually stunned. He may have just shoved them forward instead of into the wall.
He hit 4 people, 2 got stunned.
Instead of into the wall, pushes them out towards his team across the tidal wave. The Vivin ends up getting exhausted during that fight, and his damage output is still not enough to take on Airwax.
So close to.
Soren ends up dying because he's just so ham.
Yeah. But you know, that's understandable.
Yeah, he has to go in as Yasuo, and a large part of his composition is he's
kind of him.
Yeah, exactly. It's him. But even if he makes a move like that, he'll have unlimited with a chrono ship to back him up.
All right, so Baron's back up. Copenhagen Wolves have done a good job of controlling that. Their siege is less strong, so trying to force into the base is difficult for them sometimes. But they burn Baron down really fast.
These frontliners here from Copenhagen Wolves are just so durable. Oh, he goes after Trashy.
Oh, wow, Trashy at 1/3 health. Out he goes. The charm on Woolite, though. They go in. He's forced to revive. Trashy now in the front lines, low on health, floors to flash away. Woolite gets out for now, but Odwamna wants in. Does not quite get the damage to kill him. He turns into Mega Gnar, though, but the bomb is on. The charm to Airwalk. The knock into the wall, not going to be enough. Young Buck and Airwalk survive that whole thing. 2 for 0 so far.
And it looks like Copenhagen was going to go straight after this Baron and claim it for themselves. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it this series, but I've said it a damn lot. They've gotten every objective, and it's just not stopping.
How many objectives have they got?
There's somebody who knows. Right now, we're about to see.
Is it every
2 Barons this game, 5 dragons.
Yep.
And I think that's very similar to what there was last game.
What percentage of the neutral objectives is that?
I think it's 99.999%, rounded upward.
Round it up. Oh.
Yeah, we'll round that up.
Wow.
We'll be nice to them.
Okay. Vivin kills a super minion. There's the red buff again. Actually, to be fair, red buffs and blue buffs count as neutral objectives.
Yeah, to be fair. But we're not being fair today. Counting just dragons and barons.
Now, Copenhagen Wolves have been pretty unfair to H2K so far in this series, crashing so far perfectly.
They have had an advantage in objective control too, but look at that. Crashy gets leaped in on by Soren, and then everybody collapses on him. And Yarden actually gets sectioned off by Soren here and blown up with multiple crits back-to-back, 100% crit. And just completely obliterated, one-on-one.
Oh, yeah, that's some damage coming out of Sorchu's Gorky there. Inhibitor has respawned back in the mid lane here, but look at this one. Bottom lane under fire right here. Copenhagen Wolves don't need to go for the turret here. And they could also wait out Megadar if they wanted to. Willite takes a lot of damage though. That Boulder just barely misses.
Can't engage this just yet. They're waiting on Forbidden. Now the siege begins. 18,000 gold advantage for the Copenhagen Wolves. They might be looking for their final push of the game or the final team fight.
Here we go. The knockback comes in. He finds two. Down goes Hjarnan. And Forbidden forced one away. Gets a charm onto Soren. They do what they can, but there's already no AD carry on the blue team anymore. 5v4. There's inhibitors, alive. You can't kill those turrets yet, guys. There you go. Now it's open. Copenhagen Wolves, for the second game in a row, will have all 11 turrets killed. 38.5 minutes in. They go for an extra inhibitor just to be sure. Wait for minions. No big deal here on this one. H2K hoping to respawn their AD carry in time, but they're about to lose their base here.
Losing every inhibitor, being picked apart by the Copenhagen Wolves here. And Airwax, all game long, he's basically been a belly bot. All he's trying to do is knock people up so that Soren XD can get his ultimate.
And it's worked perfectly. In he goes, finds Odoamna, good damage down. There's the Gnar into the turret, finds Young Buck, forced to jump away. And now the last turret will fall. On to the next as they go. Another 39-minute game. Copenhagen Wolves, one game away from rejoining the LCS.
They've been in every promo tournament. They've won every promo tournament. Is that going to keep up to date? We've seen some other things, other records of theirs been broken, like not getting a lot of dragons.
Yep.
Getting every dragon 2 games back-to-back. Really big for this team. Huge morale boost for them.
Yeah.
And they got to feel extremely confident coming into this last game for them.
And you saw the smiles on their faces. They say, guys, this is working. And I love the fact that they ran 2 different comps in both games and played them both the right way for those compositions. That is a big thing. Whereas H2K have not adapted. In best ofs, the biggest skill you can have is adaptation, saying this is working, this isn't, throw that out, do this one instead, and change these things around. H2K aren't doing that. They're going back to the same picks pretty frequently here. They're tunneling. Like, they tunneled on a jungle pick. I think they thought that they could set back Airwalks because he was kind of keeping the game afloat early game. They said, if we drop down Airwalks, we'll be fine. Not the case. He went on Gragas and set up the Yasuo instead. I don't even know if they realized that Soren was going to play that champion.
That's the thing. You talked about how they were trying to pick on Airwalks there. They also tried to pick on Soren XD with 3 mid lane bans. And then he gets Yasuo first rotation or first pick.
Yeah.
And pairs it with a Maokai. It's kind of like, cha-ching, we got exactly what we wanted there, set up the comp, and then they ran the jungle Gragas to just cause another big roaming Yasuo setup.
Yeah. And I like that about Airwalks, by the way, is that he was a player that's actually done a lot of interesting things throughout his career. He was a big jungle Yorick player for a while, brings out the jungle Gragas, who's kind of not been around, but look how well it freaking worked, pulling out something new, doing great with it. I'm liking this Copenhagen Wolves so far. They're looking pretty good right now. But we're going to check in with Dash and the analyst desk for a look at that second win from Copenhagen Wolves.
Thanks, Freak. And another fantastic win by Copenhagen Wolves there. As Irene put it, they kind of have that promotion tournament magic, at their backs. We have to talk about it immediately, the Gnar pick. What's going on with that?
Well, I actually really like Gnar. I think Gnar is really, really good. I think there's a couple ways you run Gnar. You run Gnar when you have good follow-up to your Wombo and something that supports your pseudo-initiation. So if I see a Gnar pick, I'd like to see either an Orianna or Yasuo. I think Yasuo will work really, really well with it. Or even a Ziggs maybe for a good follow-up there. But they picked it with a pick comp, Ahri. I wasn't sure exactly how that was even supposed to work. I actually had no idea what the idea of their team comp was supposed to be. I didn't seem to have an identity. Just people picked champions they wanted to play, and then eventually it just kind of collapsed on itself. I feel like they got drafted both games, and they got out level 1 both games as well. So it seems that H2K did not come into this set prepared for how strong Copenhagen was going to be.
I'd say the other interesting thing about Champions Select 2 was that H2K did throw those 3 mid lane bans at Soren and then chose not to first pick a mid laner, therefore leaving Yasuo up for him. So especially, what on earth would possess you to do that? You know, it was something that was, you know, banned prior to that.
Basically, H2K is saying that Soren XC isn't that strong on other than these champions, and Soren XC is actually doing really, really, really well. He got a first play with a gank, and then he started dominating mid lane, got the turret, went bot lane, got a bunch of kills, and Soren XC is looking really, really good. And Forbidden is not like this god that I was being told about, and I'm being misled here, and I'm a bit sad about that.
Well, and then we have to give some credit to Airwax in the jungle, because he did bring that Gragas to the mid lane a few times to kind of, you know, get that lane rolling. So in that jungle matchup, you know, we did see some jungle ban focuses and things like that, or at least the early Kha'Zix pick away, rather, and it didn't seem to pay off. Skara, when you have that kind of a matchup where there's clearly a lot of weight put on the mid lane, wouldn't you expect that H2K would match that aggression in the mid lane? It
seemed that Airwalks, the H2K's general idea was like, look, the other team had very high priority on Kha'Zix. We should also have high priority on Kha'Zix. So they took Kha'Zix away from the other team, and they just decided to play Gragas jungle, which I thought was... I actually really disliked Gragas jungle. I don't think it's that good, but he was able to make it work because he had a really, really strong plan of how he wanted to play out the game. He got 3 buffed, same as what they did to the other team. So he's behind in levels, but he was still able to outperform Trashy because he was able to find consistent ganks throughout the game. Like he pretty much set up a tent mid and camped that for like 10 minutes straight. And Trashy was able to burn, I think, except for the top lane gank, which I think should have been a kill, he didn't get another successful gank till the bot lane gank at like 12 or 14 minutes. And I think that's really, really bad. If you're the jungler that's ahead of the other jungler, you 3-buff him, and he is more impactful than you, then that means that I think Airwalks played this game really, really well. And he's the reason why they won.
I like that. Let's delve into a little bit more about what Copenhagen Wolves did correctly. So outside of the jungle aggression from Copenhagen Wolves Xpecial, what exactly is lending to these pretty easy or seemingly easy wins there for Copenhagen?
First off, the top lane pick, they picked Maokai against Anar, and what happened is that Maokai outscales really well. He can fall behind a little bit, it's not a big deal, and we saw Anar was up in CS at one point, but both their top lane and bot lane were lanes that do fairly well into the mid game, and they just had Yasuo get strong, get ahead, put jungle pressure mid, and just send Yasuo into a side lane, and just went through the mid lane pressure. And that's all they needed to do, just let the Yasuo carry the game and have their other lanes just be support. And that's really what happened. And H2K aren't able to win lanes hard enough for that to not take over the game.
Yep, Soren, one of the players in our featured matchup there in the mid lane, definitely performing strongly. We're going to move on now to our Twitter question of the day, which earlier in the show we asked you to tweet us and tell us which teams do you think will be qualifying for the LCS today and why. And here are some of your answers. At Frost says, gotta give it to CW. Woolite is way too strong, and I have to support Youngbuck, one of my favorites.
I think, yeah, they're doing really, really well. I was really surprised by their performance. You know, I think rather than it be individual performance, I think they're all playing pretty well. Their teamwork is just incredibly on point. Like, they are way better than the other team in terms of teamwork, in terms of vision control, map control, and how to play out the map. Like, they even rotate really well, which is really easy. If you're mid lane or if you're really, really far ahead, it's easy to look good. But they're doing it consistently, which makes them look even better. Like, I feel like they're a good team. I feel like they showed up a lot more than H2K has in this series, and it's really hard to say otherwise.
They're definitely looking like an LCS team in this series. Our next tweet comes from @Caridian. I think CLG will make it. They are hungry and ready to show us that they will get back to their old and better form.
Well, you can see that CLG has a lot of potential, and that's really been the story, the headline for years now. And I mean, nobody wants to see CLG out, except maybe TSM. And other than that, I mean, CLG, they have the potential, obviously, and we want to see them come back. We want to see them look stronger, and people are going to say they should win this game, and we'll see what happens.
It's definitely hard to see an LCS split without CLG in it. I would have to say, just that brand, that team in and of itself, it feels like they belong. Our third tweet and final tweet comes from @CantonFolkHero. Curse Academy, hands down. St. Vicious has those boys running smooth. Hashtag curse or die.
Well, my original thing is that going into this series, CLG has the edge. I think they have a pretty decent edge too. But CLG has never been a team that has a very strong emotional strength throughout the series. So they go on tilt very, very easily. And it's really easy to lose to stupid stuff. Like, let's say someone gets caught in the middle of nowhere and you lose a Baron off it, you lose the game. And then the emotions leading up to that play and can really, really impact the next play. Like, it's really hard for me to see a CLG that's not emotionally invested into every single game. And because of that, that's like a really, really big weakness. Like, they go on tilt really, really easily. And in fact, their analyst just remarked about that yesterday, about how like that the only way they would lose is if CLG goes on tilt.
Well, we'll have to see if they can temper those emotions then and kind of keep an even keel going into their series. Well, thank you for sending those answers in. And remember, you can continue the conversation with fellow fans by using the hashtag LCS. Now, before we go to a commercial break, I got to ask you, going into this third game, 2-0, what are our predictions here? Anything crazy going to happen?
I think it's going to be 3-0 with the way the Wolves are playing.
I think unless they somehow dramatically become a better team, I think vision control-wise, draft-wise, the way they play on the level 1s, the way they apply pressure, even the jungler level is like so much better on Copenhagen Wolves' side. Like, maybe Febivin is a better individual player. Maybe that's why he got hyped up so hard. But Copenhagen Wolves is playing like the better team, and I think they're going to 3-0.
H2K, they've got a couple more minutes, basically, to figure it out, to lock down those plans going into Game 3. We, though, need to go and steal a dragon before the Copenhagen Wolves get to it. So stay close, because we'll be back with Game 3 in just a moment.
Does for them in the mid game. Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at that. The body slam flash into the ulti for Vivid has no way of getting out for that one. Oh, look at that one. The knockback into the turret. There's the root as well. What a good play by Copenhagen Wolves.
Airwalks come in.
Uh-oh,
there it
the
is.
flash body slam, the explosive cask as well. A lot of damage.
Trashy plays such a good J4.
Oh,
my God.
Down goes the Vivid.
Final push of the game, or the final team fight.
Here we go. The knockback comes in. He fights two. Down goes Hjarnan.